everybody. It's your girl Angie. Welcome back to Kiss My Chicks TV. I am here for the long-awaited review of the Real World Homecoming LA. I believe these are episodes. Oh, I didn't write it down. I want to say 5 through 7. It's the past few episodes. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb really quickly. And this is the episode I've been waiting to review. I believe it was whatever episode just came on today, the one where Reggie stormed through the house. I've been waiting all season to see why Tammy had to call Reggie up here. Let's get into it. I feel like, I'm going to say it right now, I feel like based on what I've been seeing on social media, my opinion might differ from a lot of people's. I'm pissed. I'm kind of pissed at Tammy. I'm really pissed at Irene and Bev, the whole house, because I've been saying this. If you've been watching my reviews, the past few reviews, I said they gearing up to do David how they did him in the house. They about to do David the exact same way, and that's exactly what they did. Now, it wasn't unwarranted. I'm not saying David is an angel. Hey, Dabu, how you doing? I see you in the chat. I'm not saying David is any kind of angel in this situation. But overall, Reggie didn't need to be called to that house. Reggie didn't need to be called to the house. And Tammy blew that situation out of proportion for me. But let's go back and review the whole thing. Let's talk about it. Let's have a good time. I wrote down a little bit of notes. We're not going to be here long. So let's take it back a couple of episodes. We're going to start with, the instant message, whatever that message called when they got to come to the couch. Hey, Eric, I see you in the chat. Welcome. I know y'all been waiting for me to do the Real World Homecoming, so we about to get into it. So, hey, Bria. Let's do the abortion instant message, whatever that message called. They go back and they want to revisit Tammy being one of the first people to have an abortion on television and how brave she was for that. And I remember, like I said, back when this aired in 93, I was about 13 years old. I knew what an abortion was. And even all the way back then, I knew what Tammy was doing was huge, because it is... Even in 2001, you don't hear people talking about, girl, I just got an abortion the other day. Me too. They don't talk. It's still not something you just brag about. So that was a very big thing for Tammy to do. And then slowly, everyone started to reveal their story. Irene had an abortion before she came in the house. Beth A had an abortion by a celebrity. I'm assuming whoever he was, he a mess now, because she was like, I would have been in some mess if I would have had that baby. And then so-called off camera, but kind of off group, the other Beth admitted to having an abortion at 19. I kind of agree with Tammy. It would have been nice if somebody in the house would have been like, girl, I understand what you're going through. It's okay. People were very pro-choice. I'm very pro-choice. So, everybody make their own choice for their own body. But I agree with Tammy. It would have been nice to know I'm not the only one. Like, I ain't making no ground, earth-shattering, history-making decision on TV when everybody sitting up in here has made the same decision before me. I get it, Tammy. And she revealed that she had twins and had to go back because she had complications. I'm like, Tammy is really revealing a lot. And I feel for her. And she did clock the other Beth, the Beth that don't nobody like. You surely found a way to share your abortion story outside of the group. You surely made sure the cameras followed you, but you made sure it was just me and you outside on the porch when you told. That one Beth I just don't like. The Beth from the challenge, I just don't like her. But let's move on. The group go to Joshua Creek. I really don't care about Joshua Creek. The main thing, I don't even remember, 27 years ago is a long time. I don't even remember on the original Real World, them doing all that, walking up and down a mountain in the desert. I don't remember that. But Tammy was like, that ain't for me. I ain't going. I don't blame Tammy. Going out in the wilderness is not my type of fun. Now, they were there with old boy from New York who had COVID, so he couldn't make it. Charles, you was 2 years old. Ain't nobody ask you how old you was, Charles. I don't forgot the boy name who was out in the wilderness with them, but they did something native ritual, what they call Navajo. I don't want to say the tribe wrong because I don't mean any disrespect, but that was interesting. I like the energy clearing. We want to do something holistic with the vibe, the group. David didn't want to participate. I respect that. Some people don't want to participate just because, out of respect for your religion, they don't want to be disrespectful because they don't have understanding. I don't know. I don't want to put words in David's mouth, but I'm not mad at people for not participating. It looked like they was making them drink some of that tea, and I don't particularly be drinking stuff. I don't really know what's in it either. But it was a nice thing. We heard more about Glenn, talk about Kim. Kim came there in the form of a little tiny mouse. And I love how they showed the flashback to how Kim would always protect mice. She wouldn't just let the dog or the cat eat them. I just thought it was cute. I thought it was a cute scene. Nothing too dramatic, like the drama we like watching on TV. Eric Neese, that's his name, Eric Neese. Yes, I like him, but it was unfortunate that he had COVID and really couldn't participate for New York. He had to be in a hotel. So up next, I wrote down they got into John's music career. I can tell you right now, that was a quick fast forward. I was playing on the phone doing anything but listening to John talk about his country music because I didn't care about it 27 years ago, and I'm just not a country music fan. I'm happy he performed again. You know, he did it for his dad who passed away a few years ago. All of that is great. It just wasn't my type of entertainment. I would have liked to know what happened to everyone's career because this was back in the original Real World. You had to have talent. You just couldn't be cute and be on TV. You had to have something going on in the industry to be on the show. But whatever. Oh, now in this segment, this is where, David, I got to look at you. Little side eye. David admits that John never said nothing about no Confederate flag in the room. Y'all know that's racist as hell to be talking about, let me put my Confederate flag up. He admits that was a joke and John never said it. I wish you would have admitted that was a joke on the show, because just like that rape comment stuck with you, that let me hang up my Confederate flag stuck with John. And he honestly thought, nah, is something wrong with you, John? If you thought you said it, that means you probably would have said it, but you ain't want to. John really thought he said that. He's like, I was 18. I don't know. I was young, dumb. I don't remember. But John didn't say anything like that. And David apologized. He apologized quickly. He didn't have to be told. I'm happy you admitted that it was a lie, because that was a lot. But let's move on. Now we get into Beth A being an open or out lesbian of the time. I really don't recall. Like, I was so young. I wasn't two, like Charles. But I was so young. I don't recall ever that being an issue. Like, I don't know. Maybe because I grew up in the North and we weren't really conservative. And there were kids in our high school that were out and nobody made a big deal of it. So it just wasn't a big deal for me. But maybe it was back in 1993. I just don't recall. I didn't ever think it was like, ooh, it's a lesbian on TV. Like, that never crossed my mind. But I understand that it was a big thing for Beth A to do. And I'm proud of her. I'm still confused about the husband, but you know what? That ain't none of my business. That ain't none of my business. I am still confused. And maybe she ain't explaining enough for me. But hey, to each their own. Let's get into the main point of this whole review, and that's this game of questions. Now, John done already said it's late. Don't start with me, Charles. I ain't even putting your comment on the screen. You know I have a code. So let's get into the game of questions. John has already said that it's late. Nothing good gonna come out these game of questions. Everybody should go to sleep. No, I know that's the first thing people think. And it's strange because the cold started way before Christmas. I just can't get rid of the cough. Very strange. And everybody in Illinois got a cold too. And everybody thought it was Omicron, whatever the damn virus is called. But we all got tested and we good. It's not. It's just a cold. But okay, the game of questions. The first question that piqued my interest is they asked Irene, as a former police officer, how does she feel about the George Floyd situation? I respect Irene's answer, but I respect Tammy's rebuttal 95%. Tammy was going in on people, and I don't think people realized that Tammy was going in. She just was going in on the right ones, because anybody else would have cussed Tammy ass out back. But let's move on. Irene said she's seen a lot. She's seen a lot of right. She's seen a lot of wrong. As a woman, she didn't speak up against the police back in the day for the wrong she's seen. Tammy put all the wrong she's seen on Irene's back, like, girl, when you see wrong, you got to speak up. Tammy, don't let us run down the list of shit we seen you do wrong on our TV screens. Don't forget your chapter on Basketball Wives. Tammy, I rock with you when you right, and you were right to an extent with Irene, but I felt like she put too much pressure on her. We know today, in 2021, it's people that are police officers, Black police officers, nevertheless somebody of a whole nother race, that see other police officers do wrong to other Black people and they don't speak up. That code blue, whatever they call it in the police, is strong. I ain't saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right, but we all know that it's a strong code. They don't flip on each other. They turn a blind eye to a lot of shit, and it's not right. But I don't feel like Tammy should have said, well, you need to apologize to your daughter and tell your daughter that you saw a lot of shit that you ain't even speak up for. Irene, you should have cussed Tammy out. When Tammy gets to be self-righteous like that, throw Basketball Wives in the face. Ask Tammy, was she apologizing to her daughters for the bullshit she done did on TV? Mind you, I'm not making an excuse. I'm proud of Irene for just admitting that she saw some wrong and she apologized for it. But Tammy just really was digging it to her, and I just didn't feel like that was necessary. I didn't feel like it's necessary, Tammy, because we all know it's not all the police. Yes, it's a lot of them. Yes, we shouldn't turn a blind eye, but Irene wasn't about to save the world. Tammy was 95% right with the Black Lives Matter conversation and the convo with David. I'm over giving David passes. Bria, I'm not about to give David a pass, but let's hurry up and get to that David situation. Up next, John chimes in and talks about he from Alabama and he got some colored boys at his house. And I said, oh, Lord. I was with Tammy. I hope you're not calling them colored. And John was like, they call each other a lot worse. I don't give a fuck what we call each other. We are at a point in time where John is old enough. Back in his day, we weren't calling people colored. So John went a whole lot of generations back to pull colored out. So John, I need you to get with the times. I need people to stop saying I'm from Alabama. I don't care where you from. I live in Tennessee. I went to college in Alabama. I spent a good part of my adulthood in Georgia. I've been in the South. They don't say colored. So, John, that's in your brain's dictionary. You, you need to elevate John. Let's stop giving John a pass. Tabu, I agree with you. Snitching in the police department is not easy for anybody, male or female. That's why I didn't agree with Tammy being so hard on Irene. Like, well, what you gonna say to your daughters? Like, it's people who not even police see shit every day and don't snitch. I'm sure her and her husband, who on go, as they want to say, on go, whatever they was calling it, don't believe in snitching. So let's stop. Let's stop giving these people too much. And I'm rocking with Tammy because I 100% agree with her point of view. I just didn't like how she wanted to bully people into making it seem like her point of view was the only point of view that mattered. I said it, but let's move on. Now, Glenn gets to going into storytelling and was like, I was in the pizza shop with my friend John, and old boy walked in and called us a nigger. And I'm like, I'm with Tammy, he can call you no nigger, and you ain't have to say the word. You say the N word. You say the N word. You can tell me a story about what happened to you, a racist situation between you and your friend, without having to say the word. That's how detached. I don't understand how a 50-year-old man who claims he woke and down with the marches and everything, I don't understand how these people, Irene, who done said she been all up and down the street on Black Lives Matter, I don't understand how they don't understand that you can't say the word. You just can't say it. I don't care in what reference you want to say it, even if you ain't got a racist bone in your body. It's some little bit of racism in you for you to feel you have the need to say it. Because if you clearly understood, you would know that's a word that you just can't say. I don't care how you trying to tell me a story. And I agree with Tammy where she's like, it's a lot of things they say against Hispanic people, but I'm not going to say those derogatory words to you just to explain because somebody else said it. I don't know. Let's get on through with it. Now, Glenn don't see no color. I've always been one to feel that this might not be 100% true. This is just how I feel. When white people come around talking about they don't see color, it's because they want to pacify racism. They rather just say, I don't see color, so I'm not racist. It's nothing wrong with seeing color. To me, when you say you don't see color, it's you're embarrassed by the sight of it. You don't know how to handle seeing color, so you just want to walk around saying you don't see nothing. And it makes me feel like you turn a blind eye to racism because you can't see no color. It does piss me off when people it's nothing wrong with seeing color. When you see a black woman, why can't you see a black woman? I don't understand why so many people who don't have a racist bone in their body are so uncomfortable with talking about racism. I just, if you looked at that scene, everyone was squirming in their seats like, oh, not racist. I don't want to talk. Like, if you aren't racist, why can't you talk about racism? Why, when a black woman is speaking about racism, are you squirming in your seat? Like, I don't think it's a good idea for us to be talking about this. We need to just go to bed. Why? Why do you have to go to bed? I side eye everybody on their screen. Now, Irene now has to jump in like, you can't say nigger. I threw my hands up at the TV. And I knew this was coming because I seen a little clip on Twitter. I said, bitch, I'm with Tammy. I'm like, bitch, you can't say it either. You can't say it either. If Tammy, I would have just went home. I wouldn't have stayed there and argued with them. I wouldn't have tried. For all of those people to say the N-word in you and David's face like it's nothing, I guarantee they say it all the time. They say it all the time. And I would have just had to go home. It wouldn't have been no arguing with David, which I don't understand how all the heat got pointed towards David when these two non-black people just said the N-word in your face. But they get a pass. Oh, it's okay. You Latina, you can't say it. Oh, you white. I know you're not racist, but I'm trying to tell you, you can't say it. But all the heat gets pointed at David. Misdirection. Let's see. I don't believe Irene. I believe Irene. I don't want to believe Irene. No, in a way, because by the end of the episode, Irene had completely pissed me off. I don't know if I believe Irene because I was one of the ones a few episodes ago that said Irene is the type of police officer that'll shoot first and say she's scared later. I said it and I ain't taking it back. But let's move on. Just means they said, that's what I said, Charles. You know they saying it off camera. They say it to each other and their family, singing it in the rap songs, everything. That's exactly how Kim from, not Kim Zolciak. If you saying the same statements that Kim Zolciak says, you're racist. Look inward if you got the same point of view of her. Now, they turned to David, and I did notice the whole time David was laughing. And David gives his point of view where he talks about big America, corporations are the problem. What else did he say? That we need to clean up our own backyard, like we need to stop shooting each other. And I've heard all of that. What I'm going to say is, because David said something at the end of this that made it make all sense. At the end of it, David says, I have more to lose than everybody on this cast combined. I respect David for having a point of view, but I don't think we should jump down people's throats because their point of view isn't equal to ours, or they don't have the point of view or aren't saying the talking points that we expect for them to say. I don't, for one, not a single inkling in my body feels that David doesn't care about Black Lives Matter, that David doesn't care about violence that the police are giving towards Black people. I don't think he said that at all, and I don't think that's what he meant. But because David isn't saying what you want him to say, does not make him a slave. It does not make him an Uncle Tom. A lot of people, and a lot of the points that David was saying, I agree with too. Now, I totally 100% agree with what Tammy was saying. I believe majority of the people believe what Tammy was saying is a clear point. She had a point. But there is a problem with how the corporations are running America, pacifying racism. As long as there's a big profit, there's no consequence. Yes, Charles, he did say he wanted to snatch her wig, but let's go ahead and get to that. The next day, everybody done went to sleep, whatever done happened that night. The next day, Tammy has a conversation with David, kind of to just say, this is what I thought you would say. I thought you would say something about Black Lives Matter and not about big corporations, and you really think Walmart is the problem. But if you really sit back and think about it, Walmart is the fucking problem. Big corporations are a huge problem if you want to look at society as a whole. As a whole. But Tammy just wants to focus on racism, but you can't make people have that same focus. Like, David is concerned about racism, but he's concerned about capitalism and socialism as well. It's not everything is, if you clear racism, you're still gonna have socialism, classism, a whole lot of other bullshit that's wrong with this country. Charles, don't go there. Like I just said, Walmart, no, did not enslave, rape, or kill, but I can guarantee you probably the ancestors of the creators of Walmart probably did. That's not the point of view David was trying to say, and that's not the point of view I'm trying to say either. I'm just trying to say there's more issues in this world than just Black Lives Matter. Not negating that Black Lives Matter isn't a big issue, but you can't make people feel the same way you feel. All you can do is state how you feel and move the fuck on. Do what you feel is necessary that you need to do. This isn't the time or place. And I wrote this in my notes because it's a point that I think some people who outside of Tammy don't understand. See, Tammy is at a point in her career when she can say what she want to say, do what she want to do. She's done the work to be at a certain level in Hollywood. Not everyone is there. Some people got real ass jobs they got to go back to. Now, true enough, this is my YouTube channel, and a lot of you people don't know where I work, and I ain't about to shout it out. But I used to work in corporate America, and I now work for the government. That's all you need to know. It's a lot of stuff I want to say on this channel, on my Twitter, on my Instagram that I can't say. Now, I could say, Angie can say whatever she wants to say. But I also, in the back of my mind, have to think if this run across the right person's desk, they can ask me to leave. I've gotten in corporate America and in government work. I've gotten multitudes of emails around when it's time to vote for a president. You can't talk about politics. Don't come to work with no political shit on. I got my Black Lives earrings, stuff. Don't come to work with none of that shit on. Now, they ain't say it like that. They say it in a very professional way. But a lot of people just can't make stances. I mean, they could, but you have to think people need their jobs. People need things that they have to go back to. That's why on this channel, I never talk about politics. I never talk about government. I will talk about racism, but I do censor myself because not everybody has the liberty of being able to say and do whatever they want to do. You can, but you got to think about, but if I say it, I need my job. And if that's the slave mentality, well, bitch, I got one too. I'm sorry. It's a lot of shit that I've been told that we cannot do, cannot say. Like, we could go out and march all we want to, but we can't come up here and say, I work for XYZ. And you can't do that in a corporate world. And that's a lot of the problem David is saying. Because why should my job be held hostage for me speaking my point of view? So I just saying I understood where David was coming from. Now, David didn't have no right to tell Tammy, but look at your raggedy wig and I'm going to snatch it off your head. And definitely when he was walking back and forth in that kitchen to whoever he was talking on the phone to, he was antagonizing Tammy. He was looking for the smoke, and Tammy called Reggie and brought it to the house for him. But what I didn't like about that situation is everybody, let me say it again before people get any comments, David was wrong for that. But people didn't start at the beginning where Tammy was calling him Uncle Tom, a slave, go ahead and get your slave mentality. Tammy was the one, then she backed it up with, what she say? Well, what about when your daughter have a son? When Beth brought up his daughter, Beth had to shut the fuck up. Beth, don't go there. But Tammy brought up Irene's daughter and then David's daughter after David said, don't put my child in this. What?
We got an issue.
What? You see I'm doing a video?
I gotta tell you.
What?
So George just told me that we might not be able to move in on Sunday.
Why?
Because they don't have any move-in dates.
We talk, that ain't no issue. We're talking about
issue.
You ain't got nothing to move. Y'all, hold on a second. Hold on. Y'all ain't got no issue. In a way, I'm happy he came to here. I done calmed myself down. And I done forgot everything I was talking about. Let's look at the comments because I want to see what some of y'all are thinking. Bria says, I'm not surprised David didn't have Tammy's back though. We see it all the time. Black women are always the forefront of the issues when black men just sit back and be quiet. I ain't gonna say oh, because that hasn't been my story. I've seen a lot of black men step up. And for what Tammy was talking about, she said it all. She done told them not to say the N word. She explained to them that you need to see color. David said what he had to say. He didn't say anything in contradiction to what Tammy was saying. He just didn't say what Tammy wanted him to say. And I don't think it's fair for people to tell someone they have a slave mentality and that they're a slave because they don't say what you want them to say. And they shouldn't have been talking about race too much. That's what John said. But I feel like if you aren't racist, why not have a conversation about it? Hell, why is it on John's back to have to say everything? If all these non-racist people are in this house having a conversation about how we can help end racism in America, why the fuck they can't say something? You watched Tammy Bonnet Chronicle? I ain't watched it. I haven't seen a Bonnet Chronicle in a long time. She basically said David said Sire what write his check, so he's not going against him. And I believe her. David is white. I just spoke on that. A lot of people feel a lot of ways, but they can't say what they want to say on certain platforms because of a check. Tammy isn't tied to a check. She's in the entertainment industry where most entertainers can say what they want and only have the backlash of public opinion. And most people are on Tammy's side with this point of view, so she's not going to have any backlash. People in corporate America cannot go around on national TV and on YouTube. Look at Angelo. No. And say what they want to say. I just gave you examples of that. When the George Floyd situation went down, we got emails from top level government officials telling us what we could and could not do in our positions at our jobs with that situation. They said we can march, we can do whatever we want, but we can't wear that paraphernalia at work. We can't talk about it on our social medias if we have our work stuff on our social medias. A lot of people, when they are writing the check and you are an employee of theirs, they can tell you what you can and cannot say on social media. Now, you have the freedom of speech all you want to in this country, but that job also has the freedom to fire your ass. And a lot of people need their check. That doesn't mean you have a slave mentality. That just means you have to watch what you say and where you say it. And national TV might not be the place where David, who is really trying to make a comeback. Now, these arguments with Tammy snatching, said David ain't do himself no favors saying he gonna snatch Tammy's wig off. I see both point of views. I'm just saying it's not right for Tammy to call David all the names she called him, because she was like, he called me a bitch. I ain't saying that to him. You just called him a slave or Uncle Tom. You said he ain't gonna be no kind of fucking grandfather if his daughter has a son. She done said all this shit to David. All he said is, look at your raggedy ass wig. I can snatch it off your head. And it's everybody in the house. Oh, David the angry black man. Come get him. And I didn't like how everybody in the house looked excited for David to catch an ass whooping. I just didn't like, I didn't like it. Black men are not pit bulls. I don't like that. She has the mouth to check him. Tammy checked at whatever Tammy wanted to say to David, she could have said to David. She didn't have to invite Reggie up there. And then when Reggie was up there on goal, ready to fight, now Tammy's scared. Baby, calm down. I don't want you to go to jail. We got some bail money. I don't want to spend the bail. But you're the one who riled him up and got him up here. You're the one who got, and I ain't mad at no man for having their wife back. That's what you're supposed to do. He didn't really know all of what went down. All he know is this man is disrespecting my wife. I'm coming to check him. Kudos, Reggie. That's what you're supposed to do. But that wasn't necessary. David wasn't. I'm so scared. Everybody's scared again. All the white women scared. Oh, he gonna snatch her wig. I don't know what he. David wasn't gonna do anything to Tammy. He was running his mouth. And I agree with David. Everybody in that house is scared of Tammy because she deserved a couple of cussing outs. But, you know, everybody just let her go. You talk about whatever you want to talk about. But like I said, throw basketball wives in Tammy's face. And what her kids think about that bullying ass, fighting ass shit she was doing over there. But, oh no, Tammy perfect. Tammy said they were talking about this for a while. That slave mentality comment didn't come out of nowhere. I think y'all should watch the Bonnet Chronicles. I might check it out, Bria. I might. But the only thing wrong with Bonnet Chronicles is that's only Tammy's point of view. And Tammy only gonna say what makes her look to be in a better light. Now, I think Tammy took offense that David wouldn't say what she thought he should say about the topic at hand. They probably were talking there for a lot of hours, but Tammy gives me, if you ain't on my side saying what I want you to say, then I got the rah-rah for you. I don't know. I felt like her energy should have stayed at Irene and Glenn ass, who actually said nigga in her face. They said it with the ER. All that venom should have stayed at them because they disrespected you more than anything David didn't say. Move on. Tammy focused on telling these people not to say the N-word. Meanwhile, thousands of white people say the word at They do say it, but Tammy focus should have stayed on checking their ass. Stayed on checking them. Why you shouldn't say it, why it should never come out of your mouth. Not just you, Latina. And she gave Glenn and Irene the hugest pass. And why are we so quick to give the non-black people a pass, but the black men you want to hold into contempt? But when David said we need to clean up our own backyard, you ain't got nothing to say. Yeah, I get it. Not everyone is in the right space to talk about it, but apparently David isn't working, or at least it's not. I don't think so, but I get it. I don't know what David does for money, but he's not at the social capital of a Hollywood. He ain't got no Hollywood career, so he probably feel like, I just want to be on the TV. I want to redeem myself and move on. I don't want to get too deep. But you did get deep when you threatened to snatch your wig off, because it don't matter how funny David thought that was. I believe it was a joke. I don't think David would ever snatch nothing off Tammy. I don't think he would ever do anything close to that to Tammy ever again. But it wasn't funny, David. I felt like you were wrong for that. Hopefully next week you apologize, but it seemed like David won't even more smoke next week when he figure out Reggie was up there looking for him. I don't know. Ain't that easy to talk. Leroy the Challenge was scared to speak his truth about Camilla. I agree, Dabu. Me and Charles had a whole video on that. It's not an easy thing. A lot of people don't like talking about racism. They just don't. It makes people uncomfortable. They don't. It seems like it's always us, Black people, when we're the ones who always have the brunt of trying to educate people in the space when they come across uneducated like Glenn and Irene. But even though we're the ones offended by them saying the N-word in our face, we still gotta woo woo woo. It's okay. I know you ain't racist. You ain't mean it. It's okay. Just don't say it again. I ring you, Latina. Don't. It's like we always have to make them comfortable within the conversation when y'all don't make us comfortable walking up and down the street. We can have this conversation all day, all night. I think my whole point is I didn't like Lord. Oh Lord, I ain't hit save on my computer. Okay, there you go. I think the whole point is the Reggie situation did not have to occur. David was not going to do anything to Tammy. Tammy knows it. He was doing too much. David was doing way too much. If David would have left it at I'm gonna snatch that wig off, and he went upstairs, but he came back downstairs and was fucking with Tammy, walking back and forth, saying little shit. That was too far. That was too much. That was asking for smoke. Yeah, we know about Camilla. I think he went too far when he said, I'll snatch that wig off like the blanket. That I hated hearing him say that. But he probably was saying it as a joke and it wasn't funny. And I think David's venom is always that bitch Beth. When Beth come around and feel like she needs to check David, it was like, bitch, this ain't got nothing to do with you. Why you even out here? I bet you Beth got a whole secret. I said the N-word back. I don't like that bitch, Beth. I don't like her. I think Tammy made a great point to Beth A. White people need to educate others on racism. If whites won't listen to blacks, they'll listen to the whites. I'm going to tell you this, Bria. I don't have an answer to the end of racism. I feel like people that are racist are going to be racist. And they ain't changing. I don't think Nan conversation, like John calling these young black boys colored, that's ingrained in him. Like I said, people haven't used the colored word since back in my grandmother's time. It's ingrained in them. They have to want to educate themselves. And it seemed like even when Tammy told John, who, if we're going to be honest, John is probably, you would think, the most sensible one. Maybe Beth A might be the most sensible. But next to Beth A, you would think John is the least problematic. Even when Tammy told John, I wouldn't call them colored, his response was, why? They call each other worse things than that, which I'm assuming is they probably call each other the N-word, which a lot of young African-American people do. And you like it or not, that's what they do. But they black, they can say it. So even John didn't have any kind of understanding of what Tammy was saying. That's why I wouldn't argue with their asses. If I was Tammy, after I had to check Irene with that and you Latina, I would have went to sleep. I would have said, fuck, half the house don't understand. And they 50 years old. If they ain't got no understanding by 50, they ain't gonna understand. But all her venom went to David because he said he sees a problem with corporate America. Tammy totally dismissed everything that David was talking about because David didn't say what she wanted him to say, and that's not right. Off topic, did you see that? Yes, I did. I'm so happy for Cam and Leroy. I hope they get a little spinoff. Don't put their asses on that Teen Mom shit with Corey and them, but let them have their own little spinoff and little wedding special. I'm so happy for Cam and Leroy. As a black woman, I'm just tired of educating people need to work on themselves. I agree, and have people from their community to educate them. Black people can't always be the teachers. I agree. And I'll tell you one thing, I don't have the conversation and I don't do the educating. Now, that could be quiet, Charles. I would watch it, Charles. sometimes we just want to be the students. I don't want to be the student either. I don't do a lot of education because, like I said, I don't really have a lot of, I don't want this to sound wrong, but I don't really have a lot of friends that I socialize with that aren't African American. My circle is black. Most of the non-African American people I come that I am cool with and friends with are from work or corporate or business setting. And when it has to do with business or work that I'm getting my check, I ain't got time to educate you. I'm not, because one, I don't have no filter. My education is not going to be PC. And it's just a rule that I have. I don't talk about racism, politics, religion, none of that at work. So I don't know who you voted for. I don't know what you call little black people living in your house. I don't know none of that, and I don't want to know, because as soon as I know, one, I'm not going to educate you. I'm just going to look at you different. And I'm going to move accordingly to how I feel about what you said. So I don't do too much education. That ain't none of my job. I'm going to see you for your works, and she going to move accordingly. And I feel like that's what Tammy should have did. You can't educate no 50-year-olds. They are not changing. And like somebody said up in the comments, for Glenn and Irene to say the Nigger on camera so smoothly, they say that shit all the time, and you can't tell me no less. But let's move on. I gotta end this, you all, because me and Charles are supposed to be pre-recording our drag race 30 minutes ago, but the conversation was good. Beth is always looking for a reason to go after David. Even after the Confederate flag lie, Beth was more offended than John. Beth doesn't like David. Beth was the main one. I'm so scared, Tammy. I ain't know what he gonna do. I don't know. I can't stand that bitch, Beth. Beth, I don't want to put it on Beth, but I bet you Beth done said the N-word too. The bitch done said it. She ain't gonna admit to that shit on camera. But all of them flocked together. I'm from Alabama. Don't get me started. Like I said, I ain't even gonna go there. This is supposed to be a review. I don't want you all to feel like I'm running down on Tammy and I don't understand her point of view. I just didn't feel like I didn't want to see David done like this again. I don't know why. I got a compassionate piece or something of me that I want to see David come out on the other side. I don't want to see him go down another rabbit hole of where people are looking at him like, and I've been on social media. Everybody is tearing David down for not agreeing with Tammy. Everybody wanted Reggie to kick David's ass. And I didn't think any of that was necessary. It was good TV, but not necessary. Did Tammy do that shit for TV, y'all? Because Reggie, he came in the house, I don't want no TV moment. Don't be following me with these cameras. What the fuck you think they was going to do recording the real world? And then production flipped it and was like, Tammy has somebody back in the day coming to the house ready to kick David's ass. Was this set up for TV? I don't know. But I'm about to end it, you all. I'm about to call Charles, and we're about to do something for Drag Race. This was a good live. I'll be back I might do it next Wednesday because it come on Wednesdays. I'll be back next week, and we're going to see the aftermath of what happens after David found out Reggie was in the house. I don't think too much going to happen. I hope everybody calms down and comes to a mutual understanding that 50-year-olds should be able to sit down, talk, and have mutual understandings. Even if you say we agree to disagree, say that shit and move on. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Go ahead and like this video. If this is your first time with Kiss My Cheeks TV, go ahead and hit subscribe. You know, I'm going to do all the competition shows, and there's a couple of new shows coming up that I'm going to get into. And if you're watching this on the replay, get in the comments and let me know what you think. Am I tripping? Am I tripping, y'all? I don't mind having difference of opinion, because I'm going to respect your opinion just like I expect for you to respect mine. But anyway, that's all I have, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.